The transfer window is almost over, and today we will be going into transfer deadline day. And it is a very nervy transfer deadline day, as we have a lot of problems, and the squad feel that we lack depth up front, and we cannot find replacements or additions to add to the squad up front. And so what might have to happen is a complete revamp and a complete change of shape. And that's always going to be a risk halfway through the season. But I think we found a solution. We just got to make it work now. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to the Liberty Stadium in Swansea, and if you are a first-time visitor, then why not? Subscribe, watch, like, comment, help the channel to grow and help us to support all this good stuff that you can see scrolling above. And if you're a regular visitor already, you know it's been a very topsy-turvy season with nobody really dominating. But as we go into the final day of the transfer window, you can see that we are sitting on the top of the league. We have 60 points from 25 games, and we are 8 points clear of West Ham and 9 points clear of Manchester City, both of whom have a game in hand on us, but it is a very comfortable position to be sitting in at this point in time. But the transfer deadline day is beset with problems, and we will need to act very quickly and very early because we have this game against Wolves, which will kick off at 7:30, so we need to get pretty much all our business done in plenty of time to spare. And we do plan to do a little bit of business. And the one of the problems that we have is that if we go to the squad dynamics and we go to happiness, you can see that there's a lot of dissatisfaction. And the reason for that is that the whole squad believes that we don't have enough depth up front. But there is a solution to that. And if we look, this is being caused by the fact that we are playing with 3 up top. And we only have 5 forwards, which they're saying is not enough in terms of cover. But by switching the tactic a little bit, and now we've gone to a diamond shape, if we now go back to the happiness, you can see they're all very satisfied now and perfectly happy and ready to get on with the business in hand. But in order to do that, if we look at the tactic, then you can see that we actually have a very, very strong team there. This diamond is not affecting the team. In fact, I think it's made it stronger. But the one area that we are lacking is in midfield, and possibly we could do with strengthening that. And so in order to achieve that, then what we're going to have to do is, if we go to the squad, we can see that there are 2 forwards who are wanted. The first one being Oshiman, who is wanted by Inter Milan and Real Madrid. He's worth a lot of money, and he is also now 30 years old, and it might be the time to cash in on him before he starts declining in value. So he is an option to sell. The other one I don't want to sell is Armada Broja. He's also got a lot of major interest going on for him, also worth a lot of money. So if either one of those gets sold, then that gives us a pile of money. Now you can see at the moment we have 64 million in the bank ready to spend in the sales, and we can increase that by a great deal of money by selling one of those 2 players. The 64 though is going to become 40 because we have already spent £24.5 million on this guy Gapo, who is playing for Benfica. We're waiting on his decision. He is a central defender who has amazing physicals for his age. His mentals are also developing very nicely for an 18-year-old. He does need to work on his technicals a little bit, but I think he's going to be a very, very good player in the future. So we've spent £24.5 million on him, which does bring the finances down to 40. But if we can get another 50 for Oshiman, then we will be laughing in the transfer market. Because what we have in mind now in terms of strengthening this midfield area, if we go to our our short list of targets, that we've been tracking this guy Mariba, and now he coming into midfield will strengthen the midfield a great deal. We bring him in as a central midfielder on support, and he really looks like he is the business, and he will provide a major upgrade to our midfield. He's 26 years old. I'll probably upset the board because he's not under 22. But we will also be looking at bringing in another youngster, and we have our eye on this Zhang Shao from China. We've only just come across him and we've started scouting him, and we don't have much information on him except that he's a current international. He has pace, and I think he is a good young prospect to bring in and sit on the bench. He is thought to be a kind of guy who could become a very, very good advance forward. And so we'd have nothing to lose by spending 7.25 million on him. His wages would be next to nothing. He's very interested in coming to Swansea. So we could also, if there's enough money, bring him in as a breakthrough prospect who could sit on the bench. And so if things go to plan, then we could have a very, very good side going into the second half of the season. And altering the shape is always going to be a risky business at this point in the season. But as you can see, they are very, very familiar with it because we intend to play in exactly the same way. We'll make one or two minor changes. We will play Karacha as an anchorman to make a very solid back three. And then the main changes will be that the underlap on the left will now become an overlap. And the reason for that is that then we have a Mazzala on the right who can provide width for us out here and Timber coming inside just as we normally play. But on the left-hand side, we only have a central midfielder, so there's very little width there. So we would set us fullback to attack now, and he has good crossing, so we want him bombing up and down the left-hand touchline, providing the width for us. And then Pobega can be sitting in, covering up for him. So in terms of the tactic, we're still playing a very slow possession-based game, trying to create openings very patiently. And so the familiarity with that remains really good. And so I think now, with that plan in mind, it is time to get into the transfer market and to get things done. And one of the decisions that I've got to make is, do I act swiftly? Do I wait an hour to see if there are any offers coming in for Oshiman, or do I put him on the transfer list and see what comes up? But there's still 14 hours to go, so we'll just go through it a little bit, one step at a time, and see if an offer comes in for him. And as yet, nothing is coming in. I will just ignore that. And still nothing is coming in. So it might be time to actually go and put Oshiman on the transfer list. So if I go to my squad page, we'll pick up Oshiman and we will go and put him on the transfer list and see what happens. And we will transfer. It might be difficult finding a suitable club. Persuade to accept the transfer listing. I'm just going to say I need to, we'll negotiate a little bit more, and we're not looking at getting 90 million. Let's look at 84 million, and he's quite happy with that. And so we'll see how that actually pans out. So Osimhen is now officially on the transfer list, and hopefully the plan is underway. But unfortunately, nothing seems to be happening, but the work permit has been granted for Gapo, and he is set to sign, and we will accept that. and move through the transfer window. And nothing actually yet seems to be happening. So I guess we will come back when something actually starts to happen. Things did get a little bit freaky. We had at one point sold Osimhen for £44 million, but unfortunately Mariba we just could not bring in. The £97 million offer that we made for Mariba was not going to be enough for Leipzig. The board were refusing to raise the amount of money that we could spend, and so that whole transfer fell through. I then immediately cancelled the transfer of Osimhen to Inter Milan, and hopefully he's not going to be too unhappy about his treatment as we go into the second half of the season. But we have made an offer for Eljif Elmas from Manchester United, who is an advanced midfielder. It does mean we are going to switch to the diamond to solve our attacking problems. He's just he's 29 years old. He's a good player, basically, and hopefully he will be a backup. We're about to begin negotiating for him. And we will begin negotiations now. I'm going to try and get him down to a squad player, and we will see what he makes of that. He wants to be a regular starter. Let's go with that. We'll negotiate a little contract with him. He's asking for a lot of money, but we do have wage budget that we can offer. I'm going to bring that down to maybe we'll try 94,000 and see what he makes of that. He's not too happy. Let's go 97,000, and he's pleased with that. So we have made that signing. He's a bit older than I would want to bring in. He's 29 years old, but he does fit what the board want, that we don't sign players over the age of 30. And so we have strengthened in that attacking midfield position, and we haven't lost any forward. So hopefully everything is going to look good. And he has been granted a work permit, and I think we should go ahead and accept that now, and he will become a Swansea City player. There are just 3 hours to go. We have to go and play a football match now, and so I think we should go and play against Wolves. And so the team for tonight's game against Wolves, and what is this very busy transfer window, is Costa in goal, with Timber, Bruncelno, Kosamu and Mendes at the back, Karacha, Pobega and Adley in midfield, with Vitinha, Denner and Brozier up front. And I think that it is a very, very strong team, and it is going to be a tough game against Wolves. It always is. We do have home advantage, which should put us in pole position. I think we're going to tell them we are favourites. I'm expecting to see solid defensive work. In fact, I'm expecting to see quality finishing. I'm expecting to see a very good performance today, and hopefully the boys will deliver that. I just hope that I haven't put too much pressure on them on what is a very tough day today for everybody. We have made a couple of signings in the transfer market. Whether they are good signings or not remains to be seen. And the game is very slow. There's not really much happening. We've had the better of the game possession-wise. We've had a lot of possession, had some chances, but not very good chances by the look of it. And the game is kind of a bit stale at the moment, and although we're dominating, we're still not creating very, very good chances, and there hasn't been a highlight as yet. And it is a very quiet first half, and I do feel like I need to do something about this, as we're not being very, very creative. But here is Adley with a corner, and Adley swings the corner in, and that is the first highlight, and that header goes harmlessly over the bar. We've totally dominated the game. They haven't had a shot on goal. We've been on the ascendancy, but it is at the moment 0-0, and I'm not very happy with what I'm seeing, so I'm going to say I'm far from pleased and send them out with a tail between their legs for the second half, and hopefully that we can do a little bit better in the second half. But it is Wolves with the first highlight, and if we're not scoring, it's always a danger that the opposition are just going to go and sneak one just like that, but Costa's in the right position to deal with that. And so far it is like absolute dominance, but we're not actually doing anything. I'm going to go attacking now, and what we're going to do, we're going to push the lines up as well a little bit. We're going to try and put a lot more pressure on them, and see if we can't win the match that way. But it's very poor at the moment. We have Mendes, who is injured, and we're going to bring on Malacia for Mendes. And this is a very, very poor performance by this Swansea team. It's not going very, very well. I think we'll take... Pabega's having a decent game. Adley's not playing very, very well. And maybe it's time for Markowski to come and show us what he can do. Forwards-wise, we are not playing very well at all. Maybe it's time to take Vitinha off. But we don't have anybody. Let's give Raven a game up front, and let's see what happens. It is Swansea 0, Wolves 0, in what is a very dire game, but Swansea have taken the lead. Buongiorno from a set piece. It is Swansea 1, Wolves 0. It was a long time coming, and we haven't played very well, but we have, from a set piece, we've managed to sneak a goal, and that has put us 1-0 up. And hopefully now we can hold on to this, see the game out, and we have dominated the game. We deserve to win, and hopefully now we'll just see the game out. But it is Wolves, and maybe I do need to put the lines back a little bit, just to hold on to this lead. But here is Denner. Denner's looking for support, and he finds it from Timber. And here is Timber. He finds Markowski. And he finds Pabega. Pabega looking wide. Brozier has Malacia outside. He's got acres of space down the left. Malacia looking inside, and there's a shot from Denner. And Denner, the young boy who is destined to be a star for Swansea, he's made it Swansea 2, Wolves 0. And it has been a fairly decent deadline day, and we've capped it off with a very nice victory. Malacia was in acres of space, and his cross was stabbed home by Denner. It's now game over. It's Swansea 2, Wolves 0. And I would expect now that this is the final result. And as we've got just 5 minutes left, we do have a free kick, and it looks like Wolves are going to have a player sent off as well. Norton Cuffy is getting his second yellow card. He has got a red card, and I think now we can pretty safely say we have the 3 points in the bag. And play it around now, just slow it all down. And Swansea are looking to come forward again. Here is Malacia. Malacia finds Pabega. Again, looking down the left. This is good play from Swansea. And that must be a penalty. I think it's going to be a penalty. Unfortunately, we've just taken Vitinha off the pitch, who is the penalty taker. And it will be Denner who will step up, I think, to take the penalty. He hasn't scored a penalty all season. I think it is Pabega who is going to take the penalty. A very strange decision that. I'm not quite sure why that's happening. But Pabega finds the corner. It is now Swansea 3, Wolves 0. It's a solid victory in the end. We were very poor in the first half. We made a couple of changes, and it paid off. And we've dominated the game. Dominated the second half, and we deserve to win this match. And that puts us very nicely at the top, 8 points clear. We do have a corner, and do we have the last word? It's gone over the crossbar, Buongiorno's header, and I guess that is going to be it now. We are still 8 points clear of West Ham, who still have that game in hand on us, but that was a very, very good win, and all we can do is keep winning, and that was a very, very good result for us. And I think now we should go back to the to the transfer window. As you can see, we are still clear of Manchester City must have lost. Did Manchester City lose? Yes, Manchester City lost at home to Liverpool, so they have lost ground. It's just between us and West Ham now. Arsenal are still around, but we are in pole position, 8 points clear of West Ham. And this is looking very, very good indeed. And so I think now we should see out the transfer window. Deals are being done, and we have signed Elgif Elmas from Manchester United. He is a good player. He's not had the game time that he's wanted. He's not as good as Mariba, but he will strengthen us and play probably as an attacking midfielder with Florian Wirtz. And we will have to start work on the brand new tactic. I can't see that any other business is going to be done today. So I think we will just now head off, and we will see you at the end of the transfer window. And so the transfer window has shut, finally. And it was a busy transfer deadline day. And if we have a look at what has actually happened over the entire window, we have signed a few players. We've signed this Arturo Hernandez, a young striker from Chivas. And he looks like he's a very, very decent prospect. We have actually let him go back to Chivas on loan and to further his development. We brought him in for £7.75 million. I think he looks like a very good player, as does Federico Gapo, who he looks like he is the business to me, and as an 18-year-old, I expect big things from him in the future. And then we've brought in Elmas from Manchester United. He's a very good player. I think he's not world class. He's just going to be a very able player, and hopefully he will provide some stability and strength in our midfield, which we desperately needed. We didn't get who we wanted, but sometimes it's not meant to be. In terms of players going out, a lot of has happened. Hannibal went out on loan to Zebra, to Juventus, and he will probably join them at the end of the season. We sold Robin Gosens, Corey White, all of those you knew about, Magyar. Joachim Mailer also went out. Arturo Hernandez went back to Chivas on loan, as you know. And Bulgarella, he went out on loan to Sunderland. He at least is happy now. He can continue getting good first-team football. Shola Shortire, he was sold to Bayern Munich for £63 million. Arthur Theet finally left for Paris Saint-Germain in his quest to win the Champions League, and he was sold for £37 million. Jay Davis, the young centre-back, has gone out on loan to QPR. It's been a very busy transfer window, and it is time now to actually look at moving to a diamond shape. And if we let's go to the dynamics and have a look at the happiness, and everybody is extremely happy now. Elmos is extremely poor. His morale is very poor, but hopefully we can pick that up. And it looks like a very happy squad that we have at the moment. And so, as you can see, we are sitting nicely at the top of the Premier League as we go into the second half of the season. And it's going to be a long second half of the season. So, in terms of what's coming up, our run is just looking phenomenal. We have the FA Cup fourth round coming up. We have Roma coming up in the Champions League first round knockout. I think what we will do is come back for Leicester in the Carabao Cup final, and then Roma in the Champions League second leg, first knockout round. So a double header of Leicester in the Carabao Cup final and Roma in the Champions League. That's what will be coming up next. And that's it from this episode. If you are a first-time visitor, then why not subscribe, watch, like and comment. Help the channel to grow and help us to support all that very good stuff that you can see scrolling above. And so, as you can see from the results we've been having from a very, very happy Liberty Stadium here at Swansea, we will bid you all farewell, and we will see you in the next episode.